Time for tech tip number 3, and today we're talking nothing but stabilizers. What are we using for? What's the benefits? What do they help, and what do they improve your accuracy downrange? Let's jump into it. So stabilizers, traditionally stabilizers are always used to reduce vibration, which they still are because it increases inertia. So when you're after a shot, the power of the string and all the energy it releases when it hits your string stop, it goes through your cams, it sends vibration all through your riser. So through inertia, the vibration travels through your riser. Then having stabilizers, it gives it more area to travel and dissipate throughout the stabilizer, so it reduces hand shock and vibration. Other main reasons for stabilizers is to keep the bow stable. And why does that help? Let's explain it. So how does it do that? So it's called a moment. That's what it's called. So what that creates is the more weight that you have out the front of the bow from your pivot point or your grip, the more weight you have out front makes the bow harder to torque or twist in your natural shot. So it's called a moment. If you have a look, but that explains it. The best way to put it is how much easier it is if you put your arm by the side of your body, how easy it is to move and twist and rotate and throw that around, compared to if you put your hand all the way out and then try and twist it. It makes it a lot harder for movement to happen. So from the pivotal point, the more weight you have in front of that, the harder it is to twist or turn your bow, and that is the main reason, and it's called a moment. So a heavier bow will always be a more stable bow. The more weight you have in stabilizers on your bow in general, but again, the more weight you have out front and slightly behind the bow slows your pin movement down dramatically. A really light setup, without them, you'll have very fast movement in your pin when you're looking at your target. When you add more weight to your stabilizers, that movement slows right down. Yes, the bow's heavier, but it slows it down. The other way you can slow your pin movement down is by increasing your let off, holding weight. The more you hold at the back, the more you're forced to push and pull, the slower your pins will move. So that is another big reason of a front mount stabilizer. Now let's jump in to why we run a rear bar. Alright, why do we run a rear bar? Let's jump into it. It is the exact same, creating that moment. So running front and rear stabilizers changes the center of gravity point of your bow. That reduces bow torque, bow twist, bow rotation by having those. The main reason we run a rear bar on main things is to keep the bow stable at full draw, keeping that bubble on your side housing in the middle. If you notice that you're at full draw and you're having to constantly get to your anchor point, you're having to constantly look at your bubble, and you have to force a change of grip or stance to get, or to put that bubble in the middle. It's more things you have to do. You're manipulating your grip on your bow, your natural grip and natural position or hold position, to center that bubble, and in turn that creates inconsistencies downrange. The reason why you need to do that every single time to keep your bubble there. It's another thing in your shot process that you have to worry about before you take and execute that shot. So the main purpose, in my opinion, running a rear bar is to offset all the weight. Majority of the time, everything, unless you own Matthews with their bridge lock technology, which centers all the accessories down the center of the riser to a point, not all of it. So on a traditional setup, you have your sight mount on the right hand side of the riser, your quiver mounts on the right hand side of the riser, your rest mounts to the right hand side of the riser. When you have a quiver full of arrows, that has all this extra weight on the one side of the riser, generally the right, unless you're a left-handed shooter, it'll be all on the opposite side. So what that does at full draw is naturally puts your bubble off and leans that way. So the point of a offset bar is exactly what the point is. It offsets the weight from that side and puts it in the center to your natural grip at full draw. Everyone's center mass is different. So the biggest thing is too, it's all well and good offsetting this weight, having the bubble right in the middle through it via a draw board and stuff like that when you're setting up these, but everyone's hand grip and torque is different, natural torque. So you need to come in store, grab your stabilizer sets kit if you're interested in them, and then tinker and play by adding weight, reducing weight adding the swing angle direction of where it goes. That perfect niche spot with set angles and weights for your natural torque or your natural grip at full draw. It's just one less thing we have to worry about in our shot process. By keeping that bow level when you get to full draw and not having to consciously think about that or change your grip or torque position on the bow. Not only that, it helps with stability and vibration, which is really important, and keeps the bow stable at draw and after the shot, which is really important. It does reduce those low misses that we all love and enjoy, because it will keep that bow up with the rear bar bracket with some heavy weight in there. It will also stop that and keep that bow still after the shot process and not have any forward fall or drop with the weight in the front of your bow. And in turn, keep your arrow and keep your push after the shot going forward, not down. Alright, so that is the purpose and the main majority of the stabilizers. Now, as a quick tip and a quick rule of thumb, come into the store and we can go through all this together and work on it together and find that spot for you. We do have a range of options in store for front and rear plus bracket kits, like this Elite set here, which comes with a larger front, smaller rear, and the bracket, offset bracket, the V-bar bracket, to bring it out and change all that variances. Now, as a general rule of thumb, with all stabilizers, you can add weights to them. So on the Matthews, they have the clip weights, and a general rule of thumb, whatever weight you run in the front, you have double amount on the back. So say you're running 4 ounces of weight at the front, you'll generally run 8 ounces of weight at the back, because the rear bar will always be slightly smaller and the front bar will be longer, to create and change the center of mass, the gravity point of that bow from the pivot point, and create that. So get in store, have a look, let's chuck some stabilizers on them for you and go through the shot and explain. We can do it in person. You can feel and see it work its magic in store.